following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Can't stop the vision, man's got the feeling like running a marathon and he's this close to the finish. Ain't no coaching ambition, either it's there or it ain't. But I'm someone near the oar, laying on the ground, counting lights after taking a loss. Might get polite applause, not yet a superstar with their names plastered on walls. I know there's fucking levels, but this ascension feels like a motherfucking treadmill. It stays supplemental, this ambition, it's a rental. Every flame dims eventually. Niggas march to the beat of my don't forget to credit me. Humble to a fault, don't get it twisted, I'm the fucking shit. Only shit y'all niggas got over me is the budget to buy all of them likes and them clicks, so get in the ring. I know for a fact, I'm knocking y'all on your ass. Your cats ain't seeing me, whether it be the pens or the pads. Don't give a fuck about the accolades that's padding your stats. Mad and ass motherfuckers can't do shit until it's garbage time. Y'all bunch of Joe Flacco's on the rhymes. I am not the mixing, I am not impressing. I do not believe you when you say that you're the best. Y'all are not elite, I promise you. Got the lions, I'm the hyena. I got a scrap for whatever I eat. Y'all be the Cenas, the Hogans and the Ortons. Y'all win cause you're supposed to. I fight because I have to. It's just another job, motherfucker. But y'all don't hear me, y'all don't hear me. I'm screaming out of both ears. I make it stereo, I make it very no quit. Ain't in my mood, set my eyes on the title. I promise that I'm a true threat. Expect me, motherfucker. But y'all don't hear me, y'all don't hear me. I'm screaming out of both ears. I make it stereo, I make it very no quit. Ain't in my mood, set my eyes on the title. I promise that I'm a true threat. Pipe bomb. Nah, but y'all don't hear me, though. I'm screaming loud in both ears. I'ma get stereo. I'ma get very no quit. Ain't in my mood, set my eyes on the title. I promise that I'm a true threat. Expect me, motherfucker. But y'all don't hear me, though. I'm screaming loud in both ears. I'ma get stereo. I'ma get very no quit. Ain't in my mood, set my eyes on the title. I promise that I'm a true threat. Pipe bomb.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Blackheart, the boss Don, Bigger Bell, Head Honcho, Off the Top Road Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for a special After Dark episode I got presented for you guys. First and foremost, got to do some proper stuff. Hit that like, share, subscribe, notifications bell. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about the interview itself. Let me just know what you know about whatever that's on your mind. But we greatly appreciate everyone to actually still be here. First set of news, real quick. We got our game show WrestleDairy coming soon, exclusively for YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Definitely coming soon. But you can catch us for season 5, available everywhere else, as all the podcast platforms that we are here on this poster right here. Make sure to hit like, share with your friends, share with your people, share with anyone that actually likes wrestling, and make sure that you just cop some merch. Of course, not going to share too much about it. And we here. This is the After Dark. I got a special guest for you guys. This man put in a lot of work in training professional wrestlers, between wrestlers still currently to this very day. And he's trained the likes of Derek Young, Kobe Kingston, and many, many more. Also, oh man, this guy is just a legend himself. To me, he is. In this city of Boston, in this city, for someone that put in the work, he's the one that put in the work. Give it up for my main man, Mike Hollow. What's going on with you, Pimp?
What's up? I'm doing good. How are you doing today? Everything good?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Say that again?
I said thank you for coming on the podcast, and I greatly appreciate you being here, man.
No, I appreciate you having me. Anytime that we can talk pro wrestling and training, it's always a great time.
Awesome. So here we are. Let's start from the very beginning, man. Pretty sure if I actually got this information straight, you live here in Boston, Massachusetts as well?
I trained in Boston, Massachusetts. I trained with Killer Kowalski back starting in 1992 over in Malden, Massachusetts. That was where it all started many years ago.
Many years. So you was there. So was you one of like the first set of talent to be there training under? I mean, training under Killer Kowalski, or was you like kind of like the ones after Hunter Hearst and maybe like a few other people that might have been there first?
So when I was there, Hunter was there, Perry Satin was there, John Cronus. There was a whole slew of us. I mean, we had a full house of stars that are on TV today or still working in the business. At this time.
All right, and then so how was it like being being in that environment along with these future Hall of Famers and we see them who have been on TV, who have not been on TV, or who have really propelled themselves in being former CEOs or CEO of a company now. How did it feel to be in that type of environment and with a teacher like Killer Kowalski being there?
I mean, it was, it was interesting. It was intense. It was, Walter himself is a legend, with what he brought to the table. The training sessions 4 days a week were tough. We saw a lot of people come and go, but the ones that really had the passion are still around today. So definitely a great learning experience, both in and out of the ring. So, without Walter giving me the opportunity back in '92, I wouldn't be doing with what I'm doing today or being able to share, the wealth of knowledge that he was able to pass along.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And with that, you wanted to talk about your career. I think after your wrestling training was completely finished, and that you graduated. What did you do next afterwards?
So when I got done wrestling, it was kind of twofold. I was still wrestling, but I was also really starting to get the bug of, training. And, at the time, Walter was getting up in age. So basically with what was happening, I was doing some stuff at the time for WWF, doing some dojo stuff, going to the office in Stanford, doing some training there with Dr. Tom. So little by little, I was introducing some of the, the training methods that, the WWF was looking at that time back at Kowalski School. So Walter kind of just gave me the green light, and we started introducing, with what with what they were looking for. And, we started really creating some success for, the students that were getting consistent work, and guys and girls that were getting signed to WWE, or WWF. And, we're just trying to chug along, and we were trying to do it right. And, I think we had a lot of success and continued success.
Yeah. And with that success comes some of the talent that we have seen on television from before, and some of them that are still ongoing. Others that took a break and came back.
Yeah.
Talk about your favorite trainee that you ever had in your dojo.
The guys that are working now, I could talk about Tommaso Ciampa, I could talk about Kofi, I could talk about Ivar, a slew of them. I think with all of them, one of the things that's unique, they just had the no mentality. They weren't going to take no. They had that special attribute with whatever it took, they were going to get out in front of it. They were going to have success. And each of their success stories is uniquely different. That's, that it's allowed them to prosper and with what they're doing today.
For the likes like Kofi, Darion, and like you said, Ivar, Tommaso Ciampa is one of my favorites. And I think my first time ever seeing him was in UFO wrestling. But that was like a long time ago when I was like still ripping and running D Street projects back in those days. And my God, I was in a different mind frame at a different time period at that time. And I knew nothing about independent wrestling until that point. And then it kind of refreshed my memory when I went to another UFO wrestling event later on. I think 2018, 2019, I think it was, that I was in Everett for my very first show, and I brought someone with me. And that was when I first met Pat Dillon. Now, have you met Pat Dillon before?
Oh, Pat Dillon, I go way back. He's a good guy. I just saw Pat probably about a month ago. He came to visit me up at Next Gen Pro Wrestling School. And, I can't say enough about Pat. Good egg.
Yeah, pass my guy. I've been to a few US, UFO shows. So if you don't for you, so if you don't know, I'm from Boston too. Exact same background. As Pat, like we both, me, him, Big Joe, and Big J, we all are South Boston people, but just different generations of it at different time periods and everything like that. So it's just kind of unique to have us, that little community right there that loves wrestling, and we want to see something prosper. So that's great. I can't say nothing bad about Pat either. Like he's been one of the solid bookers that I ever talked to, and been in attendance with. So, shout out to you, Pat, man.
Yeah, shout out to Big Pat. He's a good man.
Have you been to Pat? So have you been to any other recent shows lately?
The latest shows the last show that I went to was Atlantic Pro Wrestling out of Newburyport. I went and visited that show probably about a month ago. A lot of good up and coming talent there. And actually, Atlantic Pro Wrestling is working in conjunction with Next Gen Pro Wrestling. So it's a good connection and a good place for our up and coming students potentially to get work with them. I also, going back to Pat, for example, he's going to be using some of our talent as well on some of his upcoming UFO shows. So that makes me happy that Pat's utilizing the talent. So it's good all around.
So all right. So have you ever been on the Irish Wit podcast before?
I have not.
You have not. So you have Big Joe and Big J. Shout out to the both of them, by the way. Check out the latest episode as well on their YouTube and Facebook group channels. You should definitely give them a chat too, because they're super close with Pat as well.
Yeah.
And they've been a podcast for like 15 years, way before we even came into existence. You know what I mean? We only been around for 2 years. They've been around for 15 years, so we're still learning. But meanwhile, they're so out there already that we're trying just to pave the way a little bit, just to go in our own way, but we're taking some aspect of them that they taught us to do it over here in our app. So you definitely gotta go on their show. So definitely I'll give you some contact to hit them up about that.
Great. That'd be great.
Definitely. But you said Tommaso Ciampa was the person that you trained. I'm a huge fan of him. That's first and foremost. Especially what he's been doing now on NXT for the last 7 years. I know he cut a promo last night. I don't know if you watch NXT right now or ever will. But the promo that he cut last night is the promo that is basically signifying that he's going to be going up to the main roster.
Yes.
Now, we all know previously he had vented like he doesn't want to go. They already know they don't know what to do with him. He was better off right here in NXT and rather stay down here. But there's going to be a point in time where you got to leave the next. You can't stay for way too long. Do you think he's making the right move?
I think Tommaso's done a phenomenal job at NXT. He's really been able to put his fingerprint on that product. And I think it's a matter of him, going to the next chapter in his career. And, I think if done properly and utilized properly, I think he can accomplish great things there as well. I mean, just, talented in so many areas. You think about from his in-ring work and with what that means and brings to the table as a performer. You look at his ability from promo work and how his, being able to connect with the audience. His nuances that he brings as a performer, in the ring and being able to transcend, over the ring ropes to the crowd and to the people that are watching home on TV. And just being able to really see him evolve over the years from where he first started as Tommy Penmanship to, with what he's doing is just, it's amazing. And then on top of it, all the hurdles that he's faced to get with where he's at just really, says a lot about him as a performer and as a person.
Indeed. And I got to give my flowers to him too. And on a side note, people ask me why I give myself the nickname Blackheart. One part of it because Owen Hart at one point I called himself the Blackheart of the Hart family, so I kind of like made like a marker out of that. But low key, it really was because of Tommaso Ciampa and the fact that when he brought out the Blackheart gimmick character when he was in NXT. When I started watching it, is what got me hooked on to watch it because of him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
real reality, folks. This is the main reason why I call myself Blackheart, because of that gimmick character right there of Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
And little did I know later on down the line that he was actually from my backyard. I'm like, holy shit. That's
Your
awesome.
hometown? Yeah, close.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, that's even more better. So I'm like, you guys support your hometown talent, your home state talent, if anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you think about
And
it.
JP,
A lot of
and,
talent.
and speaking of which, JP, Big J from the Irish Wit podcast, the podcast that I was just telling you about, which is basically calling you one of the best trainers in professional wrestling. So definitely, people gotta give you your flowers, and definitely you see JP doing that. Shout out to JP. Shout out to the whole Irish Wit podcast.
What up, G?
I gotta do that every time when a new person comes into the stream and everything like that. But JP, what up, player? Anyway, but yeah. So that's low key. That's the whole reason why my mind gets Blackheart. But enough about that. Going back to you. You had a moment in WrestleMania 14 that I had to go on your Instagram to try to find that out. That you had a face-to-face stare down with Ken Shamrock.
Yeah, face to face, nose to
at
nose.
WrestleMania 14.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, and looking that you didn't know, I was sitting up there in the balcony seats that night, looking down. Was there at the pay-per-view, and that was my first time ever being at a WrestleMania before, ever. So it meant a lot to me, and I did not know that you was actually there. How did it feel to be face to face with Ken Shamrock and being in the midst of what was cultivating at the time of Ken Shamrock versus The Rock?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that stuck out to me that night is, I walked out the curtain. I mean, it was just deafening. And, then Shamrock and I end up nose to nose, face to face. He's giving it to me and I'm giving it to him. And next thing you know, he's got me hooked and I'm going for the ride and the place is just going crazy. And, it was pretty impressive. And it's good. It pops up every once in a while in my memories and I just have to laugh and chuckle. And, you say to yourself as a young kid, how the hell do you ever end up in moments like this? So, anything's possible in professional wrestling.
Oh, it sure is. Kofi. Let's talk about Kofi Kingston. What's your thoughts of your former trainee?
Another guy that I've got the utmost respect for. I'll share a quick story with you. Both Kofi and Tommaso. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I asked them to come to the school through Zoom, and they both spoke to the students for an hour, and really gave their ins and outs of all the things that's important to making the business. So it just goes to show me that they're still grounded, giving back to the business, and you couldn't ask for any more than that.
Definitely not. You definitely have to give back, especially in this thing. As we call wrestling, you have to give back. You can't just take something and then just go off with it and not, pay homage to it.
Right.
Now, when it comes to today's wrestling, I think we've seen the transformation of the different style of wrestling as, from earlier on in the 70s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and how it progressed forward from the 80s from the 80s to 90s. And then complete total makeover by at least 2010s to where it's at right now. Do you feel like professional wrestling needs to keep evolving in order to stay current? Or do you think it's just because of different phases and different athletes and different atmospheres at its time period?
I think the world of professional wrestling or sports entertainment will always continue to evolve over a period of time from 60s, 70s, 80s to where we're at now. But one of the things that will never change is the basics and the fundamentals of the business. And, whether you're a new guy starting out or you're a top guy, I mean, that's basically what it comes down to, is having that foundation that allows you to work at that level, whether it's the independents or working for a major company. The glitz and glamour will continue to grow, but the premise and the basics will always consistently stay the same. And that's what allows opportunities for both guys and girls to get to the next level if they were able to, you know, take care of all those little things as they should be as they're going on in their training journey.
Mm-hmm. All about fundamentals, folks. So no matter how crazy that the flips and shit like that may look, still got to learn the fundamentals in order for you to be able to do them.
Yeah, you got to know how to work.
That's a little snub at Big Mike from one of ours from the podcast. He's one person that doesn't like too many flips in a match and shit like that. He actually liked it how it was back then, like based on the basic psychology of each other and the chemistry can lead up to have a good match that you don't really need extra stuff. How you feel about that? How you feel about there's too much action and not enough psychology when it comes to a match?
Yeah, there's too much action. Let's face it, wrestling is based on raw emotion, good versus evil. And you've got to be able to tell that story, and you've got to be able to connect with the people. And it's like going to a fine restaurant, right? You want to appreciate every bite that you're having, and same thing with the fans. Let them see with what you're doing, let them appreciate, let them get behind the story, understand the characters, who's doing what to who. Bring them into the ring with you from an emotional standpoint, and if you've done your job, and when the referee goes to count three, and either they're sitting on their hands or they're popping for you, and doesn't matter who wins or who loses, but you were able to garner their attention and emotion and send them home happy or pissed off.
Hey, that's a realist thing. That's honestly the realest thing that I think I will ever have to accept to hear. But hearing from you and you being what you're doing and what you have been doing, that totally means something right there. And I think more people should recognize that.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. So the different styles of wrestling now may be evolving, but the certain aspect of the psychology of the game is still there. You just have to just put in a little bit more finesse into it, not just going autopilot and whatever.
Yeah.
But so you run your own dojo. Is it here in Boston, Massachusetts, or
no? It's in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I'm just a trainer there. And the school is Next Gen Pro Wrestling School, and it's owned by Bud Browning. He's been there for 6 to 7 months at 190 Elm Street over in Manchester. Great little facilities, got 2 rings, beginners and advanced, and we're there Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Got a great group of students, both guys and girls, and they're all working hard and making progress. So it's really interesting to see them all evolving both in and out of the ring, since the short time that Bud's been in business.
Mm-hmm. Give us just a regular day in the life of Mike Hollow. Just give me what you have to do on a regular basis.
Regular basis? Geez, I work for a family-owned construction company as a safety manager, so my day's always full of being at all different places, for the company, working with frontline guys, working with management guys. And then at night, my biggest passion is being able to go back to school and, give back to the students and, try to help them further their careers, like I said, both in and out of the ring. And I just really enjoy seeing them evolve. And, I think that's probably the most thing that's special to me is able to give back with what was given to me over the years from some pretty smart people.
Pretty smart people, man. You got someone in the comments shouting you in Next Gen now, man. Love you, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
So you definitely are much loved. You definitely are very loved and very, very appreciated in a lot of people's eyes. Then,
thank you.
Yeah. I mean, listen, absolutely, no doubt. But other than that, can you just give us any stories about anybody that you train with and how that kind of, that's when you knew like there was like, okay, this is someone that's going to make it far. Like, I don't know how many people have you actually trained that is actually on television now, or can you name them all?
Geez, there's been a lot of them. I think probably the one guy that sticks out to me was Kofi. I think from the first day that I met him to with where we got signed after close to less than a year, just, had that it factor with where it just resonated with the people, and the office saw that. And here it is. You think from a longevity standpoint, he's been on TV for 15 years consistently, right? And how hard that is, and being able to evolve and grow, and all the ups and downs, being able to ride that wave, both emotionally and physically. That's a testament to him, and how he's still grounded as the way that he is today as a person. It's just that's what makes him unique.
Hey, we all, as in Black wrestling fans, we all been said that he's been someone special ever since he came into the door, and just how WWE had just placated so much. He'd been, back and forth, tag team, Intercontinental, US, won them all, and not gotten the biggest prize, and then finally gotten the biggest prize after I think it was the 15-year gap. I think the 15-year mark. I think for him, I think it was, not telling you too sure, but somewhat almost recently. But it was a great memory for him to even won the world title. How did you feel about that?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, think about it, right? From from where he started, and to be able at the pinnacle of the business, and knowing that I had a small piece of the pie of being able to help him get there. It was pretty impressive. And the other two guys that deserve a lot of credit too for being unique, I think, in their own special ways, is Ivar, Todd Smith, and Tommaso. Again, just the three of those guys, just unique, and they just have that drive and that fire that just sets them aside from everybody else.
That's dope. That's dope. You really have a few people that we watch every week on Raw, and basically we talk about them, and now we see it, and now we see you, the trainer behind the scenes, and I gotta just give you my round of applause for that, because Kofi Kingston is a blessing for us wrestling fans, and we greatly appreciate that.
Thank you.
No doubt, man. You have any questions or anything like that?
No, I think like I said earlier, please check out Next Gen Pro Wrestling School up in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's a great up and coming school, a lot of talent there, a lot of great trainers beside myself, Sonny Goodspeed, Johnny Vegas, Bud Browning, Scott Reed. So there's a whole mixture of different approaches and takeaways for the students from different voices. Professional place, clean, well organized, run the way that it should be. So big shout out to them, and thank you for having me on, and looking forward to catching up with those other guys that you were talking about. Love to jump on their show as well.
Irish Whip. Listen, most definitely you will have. You would definitely have a good time with Big J and Big Joe over there. So I will send you their info so you can reach out to them and stuff like that. But
well, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir, no doubt. And everyone else, folks, y'all know y'all know the drill, y'all know the steals. This was actually a pretty decent After Dark, because your boy got to do some other stuff behind the scenes before AEW Dynamite comes on, and I got to take my notes down for that stuff. So we're back with Last Week of Wrestling, back on Friday, live 11:15 Eastern Standard Time. We got 2 After Darks for you guys tomorrow. We got one with the tag team, my boys, Chaz the Dawn and Prince Machiavelli of Pure Ignorance is going to be coming on at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And then we got Prolific's very own, the head cracker, wig splitter, shit talker, my boy, Tyree Taylor is coming back. And he's going to be on with me at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to be back to back with it. Ladies and gentlemen, your boy Blackheart, I bid y'all adieu. Catch me tomorrow. Mike, thank you.
Thank you, boss.
Thank you for the wrestlers that you train that's on television. Thank you for the thank you for what you're doing for the wrestling community itself. Definitely got to meet you one of these days. So if you pop at a UFO event, I might actually be there, so you might never know. Anyways, so until then, we'll meet each other down the line. Till then, ladies and gentlemen, we bid y'all adieu.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you? I make you laugh? I'm here to fucking amuse you? What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?